Every story has an ending. Does our quest to play the top 100 courses in 10 years have a good ending? I'm Nish.
I'm Chris.
And we're here to guide you through this golfing journey. This is the Top 110 Golf Podcast. Episode 18, The Competition. Colin as it should be, Powell once said, "The healthiest competition occurs when average people win by putting above average effort." Which I think is quite apt for us, isn't it, with our golfing ability?
Very much average people.
There's not even any sugarcoating it, is there, anymore? We're just very average golfers. No frills here. So we are playing a competition in June, I think it is. Is it June or July? Something like that.
Yeah.
Should know this, really, shouldn't I?
We probably should, yeah. We should be more prepared than this, shouldn't we? But we're still not.
And it's one way of getting onto one of the kind of outlier courses, which is Ganton over in Scarborough. There's nothing really anywhere near it in terms of golf courses.
Yeah.
So I sort of wanted to talk to you. We've got a special guest on later on. I'll reveal why he's a special guest. But I wanted to discuss competitions in general. Now, as a real duffer and hacker, and somebody who just plays social, casual golf, like a competition feels pretty intimidating, even when they talk about members comps on Saturdays and things like that, because you don't know what's involved. So, Chris, as our resident ex-pro, tell us about competitions.
Quite a lot there, Nish. What is there to tell you about competitions? I mean, it's a long time since I've played in a competition. That's for sure. What, 22 years and counting, probably something along those lines.
Right.
But yeah, obviously competitions come in all kind of shapes and sizes, really. A lot of what I did at kind of a junior amateur level tended to be more match play. To do quite a lot of match play competitions. It's only kind of county golf was mostly done at kind of match play. A lot of the kind of big sort of amateur events are also kind of done in a match play format. But yeah, so they come in all shapes and sizes, really. I mean, obviously you've got your classic Saturday medal down the golf course. Every golf course in the UK will probably have a little Saturday medal that they'll play.
So we've hit the first barrier for me.
Okay.
So what does that mean? Saturday medal competition.
Saturday medal competition. So that will be a standard, playing with your handicap, and you will mark every score, and you will go round in a certain number. So whatever number you go round in, and you will take usually your full handicap. You'll take your full handicap off that score, and that will be your net score for the day. So there's no generally the stable Federation medal will be. There won't be a Stableford competition, so you'll put your gross score in and take your handicap off, and the winner at the end of that will be the winner. You'll normally do it in categories, so you kind of often do it in like handicap categories. So it's like category 1, 2, and 3, and you'll often have prize winners for each of those categories, and then you'll have an overall prize winner, and then you'll usually have like a lowest scratch score as well.
Right. So what? So process wise.
Yep.
You rock up on the Saturday for the members, medal competition, whatever.
Yeah,
it's
so
called.
you'd normally put your name down sort of throughout the week.
Yeah.
You'd put your name down on a specific tee time, and you'd go out usually with people that you don't normally play with. You might play with a mate, but you'll often play with people that you don't regularly play with, which is quite a nice way actually to go out and meet other people in the club, and play with different people with different abilities, that kind of thing. So it's quite a nice social aspect as well. I think those Saturday medals for sure.
And
I'm not saying they don't get competitive. I've seen some things over the years, some significant cheating happening, lots of arguments, lots of little petty fallings out.
It all goes to elaborate, Chris.
It all goes on. I don't know about any specifics, but there was certainly one guy that used to play at our club who was renowned for his fudging of the numbers. I think it's fair to say.
Wow.
So it'd be like, he'd come off the hole and he scored, he's like 7 or 8 shots. And he'd be like, yeah, I was a 4 there. I was like, no, you definitely weren't. You definitely weren't. But I mean, to the point where I think he actually got banned from the club. I think eventually,
Did
because it was
he?
so prolific and everyone knew about it. But yeah, it used to really get people's backs up. So there used to be constantly whoever had played with him that week. There'd be like massive arguments in the car park. There'd be all sorts. It was it was a bit of a wild west. And I mean, it's a bit of a wild west. Those Saturday medals because the handicap system, as good as it is to get everyone playing on the same course at the same time and have competition, um, it's well and truly open for a term that you'll hear a lot of, bandits. There's plenty of bandits every Saturday. They come out, they're playing off 22, 25, something like that, and then we'll come in with like a gross 77 or something ridiculous like that. So you usually do got to be scoring pretty well to win one of those medals.
So, in terms of kind of fudging your your handicap to win club comps, so
Yeah.
what is that? Is that because people are signing in, they're playing significantly worse than they actually are to get a more advantageous handicap
Yeah,
so they
and
can
maybe
score
they've
more
got their
points?
mates signing their cards and that kind of stuff when they're not playing in competitions. All
Ooh,
that kind of stuff goes on. I'm sure it still does. I'm sure nothing much has changed over
tasty.
the last 20 odd years. In fact, if anything, with the new EGU app, it's probably even easier to do that. I mean,
Yep.
the only cards that we've done that I've put in, you just kind of signed off.
Yeah, it's all
I could put
virtual
any
now.
score in. I could put like a 62 in, and I'm sure if I just said Nish, you sign off, and he'd be like, yeah, that's fine,
Yeah.
whatever.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Life for
um,
abuse.
so
Interesting.
yeah, it's definitely the system is definitely abused. It certainly was. I'm sure nothing's changed there.
So you've got kind of there like your club competitions then, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you said about categories. So is that like seniors or is that age based or is that more
No,
ability
I
based?
don't actually know if it's still relevant, but it used to be. So the category would be your handicap category. So it'd be like scratch to I think it was maybe like 7 or something like that would be category 1,
Right.
and then category 2 would be maybe it was maybe it was scratch to 9, maybe it was category 1. I can't quite remember what they are, and then 9 to sort of 18 was category 2, and then anything beyond that would be category 3.
So you'd have to play out your skin if you're a scratch golfer to win a club competition, wouldn't you?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty
Not
much. I
just
mean, you'd normally so I when I was playing medals, club medals, you'd be going for the lowest gross. That would be the only thing you would normally win.
yeah, you just couldn't win it on
There'd be
Stableford,
like
could
2 or
you?
3 people in the club that would be competing for that one prize. But
Wow.
it'd be unusual to win a medal if you're a low handicap for sure.
Right.
You're shooting
Okay.
62, 63, you ain't gonna win it if you're playing on scratch.
And kind of like when you sort of obviously it's your club and everybody's a member there and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the atmosphere like? Is it like usually is it quite friendly and just everyone get involved
Yeah,
in what you
I'd
hear
say
or
it's pretty casual for sure. Yeah, for sure. Like I say, I'm not saying that people don't. There is an added element of competition in there, and I think when you get 50 or 60 blokes together and put them into a competitive environment, then I think the best and the worst side of people come out. I think at that point, don't they? So yeah, I think it's still fairly casual, but it's definitely a notch up from just kind of rocking up and going for a round with your mates. Everyone's a little bit more serious. Everyone might take a bit more time over their shots. But generally speaking, they're pretty casual events, really.
so obviously our great game is one chock full of rules.
Yep.
Like even the pros don't know all of them because they get rules officials over, don't they, in the middle of a
Yeah,
tournament
yeah.
to adjudicate.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I mean, what are the other people that you're playing with like with rules? Then are they
Yeah, I think
real
that
sticklers?
is probably the one difference, the major difference from playing around with your mates. Because normally, be like, oh, have that putt, or just chuck a ball down there. Obviously, that gets a little bit more serious. And I think um, if you start, flouting the rules, people
Yeah,
will pick up
that's
on that, and you will
understandable.
get penalty shots and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
that's
people will.
understandable.
But and I mean that's going to be a bit of a learning curve for me this time around because a lot of the not a lot of the rules, but certainly some of the rules have changed. So even like dropping the ball, you used to drop a ball from like shoulder height. Now you've
Yeah,
got
it
to do
used to.
some weird little shimmy and drop it down from
It's
your knee
from
height or
knee
something.
knee height, I think. Yeah,
And then like you weren't allowed to put with the pin in, but obviously now you can do that.
yeah.
That would have been a 2-shot penalty back in my day.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow,
If you putted it with the pin in, that was a 2-shot penalty. If you got it in,
wow.
yeah, I'm sure there's a few other little tweaks that
Might
have
need to
happened
do
over
a
the
bit
years.
of
So
homework
might need
before.
to get the old rule book out and have a little study of that before we play in the summer.
Okay, now obviously, more specifically in at Ganton, we are playing a pairs competition.
Yep.
So, what does that entail?
So I think so. The pairs competition that we're playing is a 4-ball, well, a 2-ball better ball effectively, but yeah, 4-ball better ball between the 4 players that are playing, and it's a Stableford competition, isn't it? So
Yeah,
essentially, best Stableford score between me and you on the whole will go down as our
right.
score for that
And
hole.
that's similar to what they would do at the Ryder Cup with the pairs, except they're doing gross, aren't they? Because they're all
Yeah, I mean,
good.
you've
They're
not
not
got
doing a
that. It's not
Stableford.
that direct competition element. You are, you're still, completing a total score throughout the 18, and you're going to
Yeah.
score on every hole, and it will just be the lowest score between the two of us on that hole, which will be
So does
the
that
scoring score.
mean that we'll have awareness of what the other team are doing, or are we
Um,
not actually playing the other team?
No, so we won't be playing the other team.
Right.
We'll be playing the rest of the field.
Yeah, we're trying to
So
be the best player.
yeah. So it'll be the lowest stable for score at the end of the day. Will win. I don't know what category. I think it is just a lowest wins. I think we won't be able to pick up any of the prizes. I don't think. I believe
I mean, I
because
love how
I
we're
think.
talking about this.
Well, I mean, obviously, when we win, yeah.
Yeah, no, but
We'll be stripped of our prizes before it's even given to us, Nish.
it's the only thing
Because
that's
I think
entered
you've
my
got to
mind.
play. Is it like 8 competitions? I think
Right.
in the current year or something like that, or in the previous 12 months. So unless we sharpen our competition pencil now and get a few comps in down at Reddish Vale,
I think they do one of these Mizuno pairs events at Reddish
yeah, they
Vale
do
as
actually. I
well.
saw that the other day. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
That'd feel a bit weird though, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Right. So we don't have to like try and psych our opponents out or anything like
No,
that.
unfortunately, which I much prefer that. I prefer that kind of direct competition. I love that. That kind of gets me up in the morning. That kind of thing.
Yeah, and I suppose we've picked whatever. I think it's 3:10 we're teeing off, and I think we've picked that tee time because I think that was all one of the few earliest ones that was available. But
Yeah, I think we were a
somebody
bit late
else
to
will
the
have
party,
picked that.
weren't we? Yeah,
Yeah, somebody else will have picked that tee time, and it's just potluck, isn't it? I suppose who we're paired with.
yeah.
Interesting. And what do we mark their scorecard, or they mark ours?
Yeah, so you swap scorecards at the start of the round, and then they would mark yours, and we'll mark theirs.
And does that mean
Um,
do we both have to mark a scorecard, or is it just one of
yeah,
us
so
on the team?
normally all 4 players would mark a scorecard.
Right. Okay.
You can probably get away with in that format. You can probably get away with just marking
Yeah.
2 scorecards, one for each pair,
Right.
because you
Okay.
only take your one score anyway.
So what are you expecting from that day?
What am I expecting from that day? The other major difference in playing competitions is obviously you're playing off the whites. So normally in a casual round, you would go and play off the yellow tees.
Oh
But it does
yeah.
make a big difference playing off the white tees. It adds an extra couple of clubs on usually to each kind of approach shot. So it does change the profile of A, the clubs you use, and B, the kind of the shots that you hit. That does change
Yeah, you're
when you're
right.
playing a competition. So it's slightly different from that. In this instance, we obviously we've never played Ganton before, so it'll just be our one and only experience of Ganton, right? So it doesn't really make any difference, other than we might feel like we've got to hit it a bit further.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, what was the question?
It's just what you were
What am
expecting.
I
Yeah, expecting on the
anticipating?
day. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how serious these events are. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
whether it's just a load of people like us that are trying to tick off a load of top 100 courses, or whether people are going to be rocking up and taking it really seriously. I
Actually,
don't. I don't
seriously.
quite know. Um,
Sort of
I know.
followed
I know me for sure. I'm going to be like. I'm a nightmare in a competition, Nish. I'll give you that bit of information now. Like Once,
are we traveling in separate cars?
we might be on the way back. Yeah,
I
depends how badly you play,
can't
mate.
believe you did that on the eighth hole. I cannot believe it. You had the perfect chance to score big on that hole and you missed it. I'm probably a little bit less nervous about it now. I was a bit nervous when you were like, "Oh, do a pairs comp." I was like, "Ugh, like what does that mean?" Never played anything competitive apart from with mates at the Nish Invitational, and it really that
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
matter at all. But yeah, I think yeah, I was probably feel a bit better about it now. I think.
I mean, it's one of those things that ultimately you've got to think, there's going to be, I don't know, 100 or so people in the field. One of those players is going to win it, right? But is it going to be you? It's unlikely to. So you kind of got to remove that aspect of thinking, oh, I've got to win this competition. Like, it
Yeah,
doesn't. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, does it? You can kind
we're
of
there
go
to
in
play
there
the
and just
course.
go. Even if we do, we don't get the prize anyway, Nish. So I think we just go and enjoy the day.
Can you imagine? I mean,
Who
I don't
says?
even know how to cope with if we rock up, win this competition, and then it's like, what the fuck? We can't
Here's what you
win
could
the
have
actual
won.
prize. Like, I don't know what the prizes are, but it's like, what? I mean, I see they've got hole in one prizes and stuff like that, so I
Oh,
think we
we'll just
better
go for that one then. We can
just
definitely win
sharpen
that
up the
one.
game and
We
let's just throw some
just go
darts
for
at the hole in
that.
one competition. Well, look, that pairs talk about the pairs cup kind of leads me on nicely into introducing our special guest. So we spoke about this probably pre-Christmas really, but just before Christmas, I got an email through our website. So if anybody wants to reach out, they're welcome to do that. And it was a listener from our podcast, and he sort of sent a really, really nice message saying, "I'm really enjoying the content, and I'm really enjoying going through the journey with you because I'm actually doing something similar." Uh, and he's doing the top 100 challenge, just not in 10 years because that's insane. Um, so we got chatting just in general and exchanging messages and finding out where we've played and things like that. And it turns out that our special guest is actually playing the very same pairs event in Ganton for exactly the same reason. He wants to play Ganton, and it's an outlier.
Yeah.
And he's teeing off, I think, about 10, 20 minutes before us. So I was
Oh,
like,
really? Okay.
we've got to meet up,
Excellent.
we've got to have a chat,
Yeah,
get
I
the
mean,
chin
we're
wag.
gonna have a whole day at Ganton, right? If we're not teeing off till 3 o'clock, we're
Ugh.
gonna have like 4 hours to kill during the day. Go and get a
Yeah,
bit of
it's a shame
lunch
we've got
and
to drive back, otherwise we get leathered.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You get a train to
um,
Ganton.
and I'm glad to say we've got him in for a chat. So his name's Mark. Hello,
Hello.
Mark. How are you?
Yes, hi Nish. How are you? Yes, and Chris.
Hi, Mark.
So
Nice to meet you both. Yeah.
yeah, very nice to meet you. And we were just saying before, thanks for listening and reaching out. Actually, it was that yours was the very first email I received off the website.
Oh,
So I
good,
was like
good,
so
good.
excited.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me on the pod. I mean, delighted to come on and talk all things golf. So it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Our favourite subject, as you probably guessed. So tell us, Mark, how did you actually get into golf in the first place?
Yeah. So I started golf sort of probably when I was about sort of 12, 13. I'm originally from Ireland, but I live up in Glasgow now, and our summers, I mean, as a family, my brother and I, we used to go up to the north coast of Ireland in the summer and stay in a little town called Portballintrae, which is just geographic, the north coast of Ireland, just about 20 minutes drive from Portrush, Portstewart, which is an absolute golfing mecca area up at that north coast. And in the summertime, we'd be up there for 3 or 4 weeks. And mum and dad got us some golf lessons. There's a wee par free course up there called Ballyrea, and we had some lessons. And my brother and I just got hooked, and then when we were back down, because we're from Carrickfergus, our local course that we became members of was Whitehead, and you know what it's like in the summertime. I mean, you're off for what 8, 9 weeks, and what do you do every day? Just play golf. And at that age, when you're 12, 13, 14, you're not playing 18 holes. You play, mum drops you off first thing in the morning, you have 36 holes with
Yeah.
no bother.
No.
Whereas
Yeah.
nowadays, you just about get around 18 and you're knackered.
I know.
So,
Yeah. I think I need about a week to sleep if I did 36 holes in a day now. But that was, like you said, that was pretty much every day throughout my summer holidays. At least 36 holes, and then a bit of
yeah,
practice. And yeah,
that's it. It was just golf. That was the summer playing golf. And that's probably when it all started out. And then life goes on. You go to university, so I was at Glasgow Uni, so university life sort of takes over, and student life as such when you maybe play half a dozen rounds of golf per year. And then I lived over in Australia for a bit, so I was traveling out there with a friend who, I mean, my friend Al, he was a scratch golfer at the time, so he was always very into it. So he was very good as a sort of a buddy to go along with to say, look, do you want to go and play this top course? Come along. So I always had that sort of interest and kept the golf up, but I probably got back into it more seriously sort of COVID times whenever, I mean, there's not much to do. So the driving range is open. So rather than go out for a walk, I'll go to the driving range and hit 100 balls. And then myself and a couple of friends, we joined. Well, my wife and I got married. We moved house, and a couple of mates, we joined a course just down the road from the house, sort of 5 minutes down the road. And that's how probably after COVID, I started properly getting seriously back into golf and playing regularly again. Yeah.
It's interesting you said about COVID, and I think a lot of people got straight back into it because I think there were all these numbers were coming out, weren't they, about how the game is exploding post COVID. But yeah, it's funny how you said about you could go for a walk or you could go to a driving range, but only one of them is going to get you massively frustrated at the end of it. So
Yeah,
which
that
one do
was
you
it.
pick?
You know what I mean? It was like there was nothing else going on, as you know. It was like, but the driving range was open. So, and then obviously the course is open. So it was like, let's get out there and play again. So, yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah,
Um, Obviously you were you when you're younger and you just go out and you're just playing for the love of being out there with your brothers or your friends or whatever.
yeah.
Was there ever a moment where you sort of went, oh, do you know what? I'm all right at this game. I could not see a future, but
Like,
I like it.
yeah, yeah. I think so. Growing up when you're sort of a teenager and you're playing regularly, you're naturally getting better. And my brother and I were a similar age, so we were a similar sort of level of standard as well. So we were ultra competitive with playing all the competitions each week and trying to get that handicap knocked down. And I think back then, you probably find it nowadays. It's a bit easier to get your handicap. I think back then it was like you had to play all the competitions to get the cards and to get the handicap. Whereas nowadays with the new system, which I know there's a lot of debate about the new system, and some people like it and others aren't so keen, but I actually really like it because it's sort of, you don't have that commitment that you have to. You can go out and just play a
Yeah.
social game as long as you put on the app beforehand that you're going to put a card in. It's easier to get the handicap and even work on it as well. So, um, but yeah, no, I never had any aspirations that I was actually going to go anywhere with golf. That would be a dream, obviously, but yeah, I mean, I'll stick to watching it on the TV. Watch McIlroy on the TV.
Yeah, I think it's definitely made it more accessible, hasn't it? I mean, I was probably a little bit intimidated about getting my handicap and getting my cards in and all this kind of stuff. Even though actually it's in the last few years it's been easier as well. But just that app, it makes it so easy. And I suppose
Yeah, I think especially as a junior as well, because I think that can be a real barrier, can't it? If you need to get ultimately an adult to kind of come around with you and sign the card and all that kind of stuff, it can make it much more difficult. Kind of just that first entry point into getting a handicap. So I think it's great for the game. I think in terms of that accessibility. Uh,
even the sort of stroke index as well, it brings in the slope rating and that. You get a shot or two back on the course as well at times, which I think helps because if you play a lot of different courses, some courses are a lot harder or easier than others. So I
yeah,
think
yeah,
it's only a good thing. Yeah.
yeah.
so fast forward to well, more recent times, and you go, I want to do the top 100 course in the UK and Ireland. What prompted that?
Yeah, so myself and three of my mates, we were playing February time last year. We were playing up at Glen Eagles at the King's Course, and it's like we're playing these top courses. If you can play them shoulder season, like February, March, October, September, October, it's cheaper, and sometimes you can get just as good a day or not a better day than playing it in the peak of summer, and obviously far cheaper as well. And we played February time in the King's Course, had an absolute brilliant day. You know what I mean? For February time, the course was immaculate. It was, you know what I mean, a couple of us even had T-shirts on. It was so nice. And I remember after the round, my friend said to me, "So where are we playing next?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And I remember that night. Literally, I went home and I was on Google looking up top golf courses in Scotland to play, which then led to, oh, I'll include Ireland as well. And then as the days went on, it was like, let's just look at UK and Ireland and see what I can do. And that led to looking at different lists, the top 100 lists, Golf Monthly. And the first list I came across was the Golf Monthly 2024 list. And I just decided, look, I'm just gonna go with it. Like at that time, I pretty much looked up to see, and I know over the years I've played a few of these courses, so maybe I've done a few already. And February time last year, after I played the Kings, I think I was up to 9 courses.
Right.
So, and that led to just probably a bit like what you guys are, I plotting out how can I tick off courses, like starting off maybe playing ones nearby and then organizing golf trips and just going from there. So
I mean, you're pretty handily placed in Glasgow for a lot of the courses, aren't you? You're kind of right in the centre of all of the Scottish ones, really, aren't you?
yeah, we're pretty fortunate up here that, you know, I mean, Glasgow, I mean, the Ayrshire coast, so Dundonald, Troon, Prestwick, Western Gales, they're about half an hour away from here.
Yeah.
Turnberry's just down the coast, Gleneagles, and then obviously you're up to St Andrews and over to North Berwick and Edinburgh to the courses over there. So you are pretty, but you guys are pretty well placed as well. Like is it just outside? Is it near Manchester? You guys are roughly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think I've looked around your area. There's probably about 10 courses around that. Obviously, a lot of ones sort of Merseyside in that sort of radar that
Yeah.
I'll obviously try and get down to at some point. So yeah.
So what have you played so far then, Mark? How many have you done? You said you've done 9.
Yeah, so I had done that. I'd done 9. So after we played the Kings in February, that was number 9. But up until then, now this is going back to sort of university days. I've played Turnberry, um, Royal Troon. So quite a funny story when I played Troon. I was in halls at uni at the time, and it was a Sunday morning. And my mate Al, who plays for the university team, um, I was lying in bed, hungover in halls, 8 o'clock in the morning. He phones me up and he was like, "Do you want to play Reltron today?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, the university team were one player short. And do you want to come play Trin?" I was like, yeah, all right." So I was lying in bed. He's like, "How long will they be?" He's like, "We're actually sitting outside your halls right now in a minibus. So get changed. We're going to go now because the tee off was like sort of 9, half 9." And he was like, "Have you got a jacket?" I was like, "What do you mean a jacket?" "So you need a smart jacket." So I didn't, I was like 19 at the time. I didn't own a jacket. So I got my clubs out in the minibus and they phoned the head to say, we've got this guy who can he borrow a jacket to get into the clubhouse. So obviously we played against 2 other members in competition, and then I borrowed a jacket from the clubhouse so I could get into the lounge and all afterwards. Like it was a free day out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
18 holes in the championship course, like free course meal afterwards. And then I remember the guys were saying, "Do you want to join us for some cigars and port in the drawing room?" And I was like, "What's port?" The guy was like, the guy was just like, "It's alcohol," and I was like, "That's fine." As a student, I was like, "It's free." So
Yeah.
that was a great day out to play Troon, I remember
that.
actually I lipped out for a birdie on the postage stamp, and it was just
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Oh,
it was just
I mean,
like
Mark, that literally
yeah,
sounds like the best hangover I've ever
yeah.
heard of in my entire life.
I
It sounds
know.
oh,
No, I mean, a poor student in first year in halls, you get invited for
amazing.
a full day out with wine and the full works at Royal Troon. It was like, yeah, that was a
I,
special memory. But
I love that. It's like,
yeah,
Have you got a smart jacket?" It's like, "No, I'm at university for God's sake. What do you
that's it.
think? There's no way.
Yeah,
I
I'll put a
went out
video
last
on.
night.
yeah,
I've just
Yeah,
peeled doner kebab off my face to get ready to
yeah,
come and play. I've not got a smart jacket. Come on,
yeah.
brilliant.
So that was where else? So Royal Rush was another course I played.
Oh,
Yeah, I took some of the mates over to Ireland again at university days because my parents own a holiday home up in the north coast in a place called Bushmills. We had a tea time at Royal Rush on the Sunday morning after a heavy night out the night before, and like three out of the four were like average golfers, like mid at the time mid-teen handicappers. And again, I mentioned the guy again who went traveling, Al, who played the university team, but like he was a scratch golfer. He was very good, took it very seriously. And that day on Rush, I'll always remember he had 5 birdies in the first 11 holes. So he was
wow.
three under par gross on the Dunluce links of Port Rush. Whereas
Wow.
we were like, if you hit the ball if you missed the fairway and you're in the gorse, lost ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas Al was just, oh, he was just, I've never seen him play golf like that. I think he ended up, he finished, he dropped a few shots towards the end, and I think he finished one or two over par gross, which is still is an incredible story. But I just
yeah.
remember like when we had a heavy night out the night before, including him, 10 o'clock on Port Rush, and he's got 5 birdies, three under par, 311. It was just, yeah,
It sounds like you've set a bit of a precedent, Mark, for every time you play an open rota course, you've got to have a heavy night the night before. Just
yeah,
to,
that's it. I know
keep them
that's
all
it.
on a
You
level
can see
playing
you
field.
can see the theme going, but
I
so
think
yeah,
I think doesn't Darren Clark do that? That's his that's his pre
yeah,
prep, I think.
yeah, probably like yeah, like I think he actually lives in the Bahamas now, but he used to see him around up there a lot. Like obviously when the Open was there in 2019, I was up at the first tee seeing Darren tee it off there, and I'm not sure. I assume he probably he's won the Open before,
Yeah.
so he'll be there, I'm sure, this year coming. But I know he's got a house up near Rush, and then I think he's relocated to the Bahamas now. But he's obviously an icon of Irish golf
If there's one
amongst other people.
golfer you can see in the Bahamas, it's Darren Clark. I think
Yeah,
he'd be absolutely living it up there, wouldn't he?
yeah. Big cigar on the beach, just yeah.
So we've been talking about comps and stuff like that. I mean, further to you, that's the sort of place that you've played. What you've got Ganton booked, and as it turns out, your tee off is quite similar sort of time to ours. It's only
That's right. Yeah, I think we're
half an
off.
hour away.
Yeah, I think it's near 4 o'clock. I think we're probably one of the latest tea times in the Mizuna. It's in July, isn't it? I've got it written down.
Oh yeah, so you
Ganton,
know.
Ganton's in June. June, sorry.
June.
Yeah, June.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I think it'll prove probably one of those days. Obviously, I've marked it out like geographically. Scarborough. I don't know what it is for you, but it's about 180 miles from Glasgow. So we might just do that in a day.
During the
Like
day.
if we get finished, we'll see what happens. I'm not sure what day of the week it is, but we might just like.
Is it a Friday? I think it's a
It's a
Friday.
Is it a
Friday, I think,
Friday? Well,
yeah.
we'll
I
see
mean,
what happens. Yeah.
Friday
No, I'm
night in
just looking at my
Scarborough.
diary. Not only is it a Friday,
Or
it's
Scarborough, yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, is it? Right,
Putting that out
okay,
there.
very good.
It's Friday the 13th.
Yeah, it's all happened. Scarborough won't know what's in it, so we'll see. We might stay
My
on that night. We'll
goodness.
see what happens. Like, yeah,
Friday the 13th in
yeah.
Scarborough. I
Nah, I'm quite
mean,
looking forward to that one now, Ganton. Be
no
good.
no disrespect to Scarborough. I've been a couple of times, but it's telling that we're all thinking of just doing it as a day trip and
Yeah.
leaving.
Escape, indeed. Yeah.
What else have you got booked then aside from
Mm.
Ganton then?
So apart from Ganton, Blair Gowrie. So Blair Gowrie's got two courses. It's Perthshire. It's a Parkland course. Perthshire. It's the Rosemount, which is in the top 100. of my list anyway. That's in June. Um, Moortown, which I know you guys have
Oh,
played down in Leeds.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We
So
really love
we're
that.
playing
Yeah.
that in July.
Oh,
So
excellent.
that's part of there's you know it's like when you start like looking at the top 100 and going on to Facebook and joining groups and all. People give you tips and give you suggestions and all. And I obviously came across the Mizuno pairs, which is what the Ganton is, but there's NCG 100
Right.
National Club Golfers. So they run, like, I've not done any Mizuno pairs before, or I've not done any NCGs. So my mate and I have booked through the NCG, which have actually got a lot of, basically, it's National Club Golfers top 100 courses. A lot of them are in England, and so Moortown in July, that's free NCG.
Right.
So looking for, and Blair Gowrie, that's free NCG as well. So that's another avenue to potentially, you might get some courses off that yourself to tick off, where
Mm.
a lot of these days out are peak season at good prices.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
NCG guys actually run a podcast as well,
All
which
right.
is quite good. And I was listening to their latest pod the other day, and it was talking about prices of golf and green fees going up, and Turnberry being £1,000
Is
peak
it?
season.
Wow.
Peak
It's
season,
just
yeah, in the summer.
bonkers, isn't it? Absolutely
That's
bonkers.
Trump, isn't it? We need to pay
Trump,
for all of his lawsuits.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So there are other ones,
Yeah.
and then later in the year, Mizuno have got the Royal Aberdeen Trump International 2-day combo in October,
Nice.
so that'll be good.
Yeah. We're doing a triple header.
Nice.
Trump International, Royal Aberdeen, and Cruden Bay
Oh yeah, nice.
towards the end of the year because Chris knows somebody up there. So
Yep.
yeah, that's a good
Right.
one. And we just yesterday got a confirmation of getting invited up to play Carnoustie.
Oh, fantastic. Right, okay.
Yeah, so
Very
looking
good.
forward to that one.
Amazing.
That's somebody who listens as well.
Oh, great.
Just
Wow.
reached
A
out and
member
said,
of Carnoustie. Great.
yeah, they just said, would
Fantastic.
you like to come and play? I was like,
Come up.
yeah,
When
yeah.
can I come up?
Yeah,
I'll be up
yeah,
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Oh, amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing, guys.
So
Yeah.
that would it was so nice to kind of get that message.
Yeah, that
Yeah, it
is.
was lovely that.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I've had
obviously,
like, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
no, go on. Sorry, Mark. You
Yeah,
carry
I've
on.
had one or two other people like reach out. Like a guy on one of the Facebook groups was just said, look, because he knows I play in the north coast of Ireland as well, and he said, look, if you're up in Donegal, I'm a member of Ballyliffin, so
Brilliant.
more than welcome
Nice.
anytime. So that could be another option to get up there sometime.
It's really nice, isn't it, when you connect with people that
Yeah,
you've never met or anything like that. Everyone's got a great story to tell. Everyone's
yeah,
very chatty. Everybody wants to
yeah,
kind of help out, and it's just this lovely. It's not even a small community; it's massive. The number of
yeah,
people who play golf, but
yeah,
everybody wants to help everyone.
100%. And people are so like, why not? If you're a member and you're quite happy to take someone on, because you can see the golf's as much as I love golf, it's not a cheap hobby. You know what I mean?
No,
And like you see what the prices are. If you want to go and play one of these top open venues in the summertime, which is when people like to play golf, it's the prices. Even getting a tee time's hard, but the prices are
Mm.
extortionate.
and if you
And
happen to be tapped enough in the head to go, I'm going to play 100 of these courses
yeah,
in a short
mad
space
enough.
of
Yeah,
time, then
yeah, I know.
I mean, more
Yeah,
fool us, really. Who's the
no,
idiot?
yeah, I know. Well, fair play to your guys for like. I thought it was a great top 110, just 10 years. Blitz it,
You got, I'm
fantastic.
pointing to the guys to blame. It's like Chris. Chris is to
Yeah,
blame.
that's definitely my fault.
I
One
don't
too
even
many
know.
bottles of wine. If we'd have had the conversation one bottle of wine earlier, there might not have been a 10-year cap on it. Would have made the whole
Yeah,
thing much easier.
I know the 10-year cap really just yeah, that sort of put the cat amongst the pigeons, didn't it? But I love it. It's great. It's great. I'm loving the challenge of doing it. And same thing as
Yeah,
you obviously you've listened, so you know I was going through the same thought process as well. But yeah, you just get onto
yeah,
Google straight away, don't you? And
you do. You just think next, where can we go next?
yeah,
Absolutely.
how can I make this happen?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it
I
will
mean,
happen. definitely.
Moortown, you will absolutely love, particularly playing in the summer. Oh,
Yeah.
what a course that was.
Mm.
I think we actually played some half decent golf there, Chris.
We did, yeah, for a change. We did.
Yeah, we were good tee to green, and I think it was. You'll have heard again, Mark. So please forgive me. I'm repeating myself here, but obviously Eddie, the assistant pro there, is just absolute top man. You'll
Good,
enjoy
good,
speaking to him,
good. Cool.
and you get your range balls for free.
Yeah, I know. That's it. You pay all this
That's
money.
good.
These places, and sometimes it's like, oh, it's still fiver for 30 balls. You're like, really? I've
Yeah,
just paid you guys, I don't know, 200
yeah.
quid. I've got to pay a fiver for 30 balls. Yeah. So yeah, that'll be good. It's always nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. So we're doing a competition at Ganton. Is that? Have you ever played a competition before?
So I've obviously played like comps, obviously at my own club. And you get your Saturday medals,
Mm-hmm.
wherever that's Stableford or stroke play and singles and match play comps. But I've not played one of these Mizuna pairs before, and I
Yeah.
think like with me and Andy, who's playing with me, like we're both pretty competitive. But I think probably a bit like you guys, when you go and play a top course like this, I'm not really going to be too bothered about how well I do. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be pushing set. I must break 80 today. You know what I mean? I want be good to get a good score, but I'm not really. It's all about the experience of being and playing
Yeah, yeah.
a one-off. You'll probably be there once playing these courses, so
What say you,
Exactly.
Chris? I saw you nodding, but I thought he doesn't mean that.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, theoretically, that's exactly the mindset I'm going in there with. But once I actually step foot on the course, whether or not I can control myself and actually keep in that mindset is another thing.
yeah.
We'll see.
I've not even looked to see what the prizes are, different things. Like, I think it's obviously sponsored by Mizuno, so there's probably some quite decent prizes. But at the same time, there's I don't know how popular these are, but you probably will get a lot of very very good golfers that play these that are on the tour or on the circuit playing these courses. Very serious golfers, whereas I'm going to enjoy it and tick
Yeah.
off that I've played Moortown or I've
And
ticked
Yeah,
wouldn't it be
Ganton.
nice if we turn up totally casual and deny somebody else the chance who's taking it seriously
Yeah,
to actually win?
perfect.
slow them up.
Yeah, that's
Take
it.
as long as
Like
possible.
taking
Yeah,
filming and all sorts, It's like, we're just here to enjoy it, mate. Don't worry about it. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, I think we had and before you came on, we were talking about competitions and things like that. I've never played in anything competitive, so it was a bit sort of intimidating for me. But I think Chris has alleviated that a little bit until he's like trying to punch one of our opponents or something like that. That's when it'll change.
but hopefully as well, if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, teeing off, hopefully everyone will be away. So people will be the last few groups to go out. So hopefully it won't be like a nine
it's
o'clock,
it's
50
also it's
people
always
watch you.
yeah it's always one of those last groups in the afternoon that always wins as well, isn't it? Someone will come in with a ridiculous score at the last minute.
Yeah, yeah. 45 points or something. You're
Yeah,
like, what?
Yeah,
What do you play off?
I
Yeah.
love that. Now we're hovering around New Year's, and we did this in our end of year awards special sort of thing. But do you have any golfing resolutions for the new year?
Yeah, so I think with renewing my membership again, it would be good to try and get my handicap a little bit lower this year. Like I played quite a few competitions last year and I was pretty consistent. So it'd be nice to get it down slightly. I'm sitting at 9.3 at the minute. So it'd be nice to, I think maybe we could try and get down to maybe 7 around there. Hopefully, you know what I mean, would be good. But that would be good. That would be good. But I think golf, I've just, my, my wife and I just had a new baby there a couple of months ago. So I'll be playing.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'll be playing golf, but as well, I can't just like always just like 9 holes on the way home from work tonight. Got responsibilities. So, but that would be good to try and get the
So
handicap down a wee bit.
the baby wants me to play 9 holes tonight.
That's
Wants me to come
yeah.
back relaxed and smelling of grass and all that sort of stuff.
I've seen. No, can you get though? You can get those pram/golf club. trolley type things. My mate was like, "You're gonna be one of those people where you're pushing the pram with the clubs on the back of it." That'll be
I was going to ask. I was just going to ask that question before you said that, but I didn't actually realize that was a genuine product that's out there. I've never seen that. I've obviously seen the people running with the babies, but I've never seen. I mean, what a great idea, though. I mean, just a 3 hour walk with your baby. It's
yeah.
perfect.
And
Yeah,
he's asleep the whole time, so
yeah. Nice.
just make sure there's a shield around it in case people are hitting golf
Yeah,
balls in
yeah,
the
yeah,
direction.
yeah.
That's where we'd fall flat with ours. They wouldn't be asleep the whole time. Those two boys are just like they want to know everything that's going on, particularly if it's golf anyway. They're like, I mean, I went and played today, and they're both just like crying at the front door, just like,
Really?
I
Yeah.
want to come and play golf. I mean, like, you're 7 and 3 for God's sake. You can't play. Like, just leave me alone. Let me go off and play on my own. Yeah, I don't think I'd get any change out of them for that. Do you have like we've obviously got the 10-year target to complete this in. Do
Yep.
you have a time frame in mind, or sort of just taking it as it comes?
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to take it as it comes. Like, I think when I picked it up last year, I was sitting at 8. I got 6 in. Last year, I got 6 in. So we played Glen Eagles, the King's Course, and then where else did I play after that? Dundonald. So we did Dundonald, did Western Gales. I was up in St Andrews in the summer, played the new course, which is just next to the old. That was an R class course up there. And then where else did I play? St Andrews, PGA. So the Glen Eagles PGA. So obviously I still need to play the Queen's course, and there's a couple of friends have been talking about maybe March time, maybe playing the Queen's again. Sort of shoulder season would be good to get those free because the free courses are on my list anyway. And then in our
What was the PGA like?
it
So I came up
was
to watch the Ryder Cup,
yeah
at Glen Eagles.
yeah
That looked like a tough course.
it's
Long.
tough. A lot longer than the Kings, and harder. I definitely preferred the Queens. And speaking to people, they say that the Queens is probably the best out of the three, followed by the Queens. The PGA had been closed for a few months because it was getting a lot of work done. But I've got a friend actually who's a member up there, so he got me on members rates last summer, which was really good. But be good to try and get the Queens ticked off as well because it's not too far from home as well. It's only about an hour up to Perthshire. And our course I played last year was Silloch.
Oh, did
Oh
you? Did
yes.
Silloth? Oh,
Yeah,
great.
so that's how we played at. We played that. Like obviously, as you know, Silloch it's probably the best value top 100 course on the list, like
Yeah, I think so.
hands down.
Mm.
And it's one of those courses which not it doesn't just scrape into the top 100. It's sitting at about 40 or 50. Like it's very very high up the list and deservedly so. But it's such good value.
Yeah, it is. I mean, for less than 100 quid, it's a lot. It's a lot of golf course, isn't it? For that.
And the facilities and all. I mean, the staff and all there, and we got food and all before we played it. I think it was the end of September time, and it was an absolute bargain and a great course to tick off. Like obviously, people talk about it's quite hard. Like for me, it was about 2.5 hour drive down from Glasgow. Not too bad, but what a course! Like absolutely loved it. A lot of blind shots, but like the whole setup, value for money. When you look at how much Turnberry is to play, you're just like, you get 10, you get over 10, you get like 12 rounds at Silloth.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
good.
Get a membership at Silloth for that.
Yeah,
Silloth is the golf course that got me in love with blind shots. Actually,
yeah,
I used to hate them. I was like, what the hell is the point of playing at something you can't even see where you're trying to go for? But
yeah,
I don't know what it is. Now a blind shot is just I'm good at them.
yeah,
Maybe it's not seeing a target.
yeah. And I remember whenever I had played Silloth, I obviously was on Instagram, and one of the guys that you had on the pod, the top 100 golf guru. So I follow him on Instagram, and I think he had put a link to the top 110, and that's how I discovered you guys. And then you
Oh,
put your first course, and I was like, I was there a couple of weeks ago, and they had obviously followed your pod each week, and it was like these guys are doing the same thing that I'm doing. So that was so good.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just it's great, isn't it? I mean, it's totally consumed my life. Uh, Got everything. I've got like sweatshirts and hoodies and caps and all sorts of things. Just yeah, anything I can. And obviously, you've got your list that's
Mm,
right over your
it is
shoulder.
indeed.
So
Yep.
tell us a little
Yep.
bit about that. What's
Yeah. So I got that off. So the list that I took was off Golf Monthly. So that was probably one of the first lists. You obviously you go on Google and there's the top 100 official website of courses, and I come across the Golf Monthly list for 2024, and I remember like asking people like some of the Facebook groups and stuff. You get speaking to various people, and they said just pick a list and go with it
yeah,
because you know yourselves, the top 50 aren't going to really change. I mean, you've got what, about 12 or 13 open venues that are always going to be there. Obviously, there's always new courses coming on and new ones come into the list and ones will drop out. But I just decided, look, I'm just going to go with that list and just work my way through it. I mean, I've not really set myself a timeline. Like if I get half a dozen or so in a year, then maybe 15 years down the line, I might get through it. Obviously, with time, it's going to get harder because you start looking at, like, I can't really do that in a day trip. That's going to be a 4 day trip down to Cornwall or whatever, or down to the west coast of Ireland. But like you guys, I'm up for the challenge. I'm just going to go with it. So, yeah, I'm at 14 at the minute, and hopefully, I'm hoping by the end of the year, maybe be good to get maybe 10 in this year, maybe. We'll see.
I mean, you've done 5 times more than we've done, but you know we've got a bloody podcast about it.
Yeah, yeah, well,
Bloody
it's all
amateurs.
good. But it's interesting just seeing on your website to see ones you've got booked because some of the ones that you guys have booked are maybe ones that I am got lined up and stuff as well. But you probably find as well that some are more accessible than others, and
Yeah,
it will with time. It probably will get a bit harder, but I think I'm just going to go with what's sort of closer to home now, and then worry about that years down the line.
yeah. I think that's our thought process, isn't it? Just kind of get the low hanging fruit, and then kind of see what we've got left, and yeah, hone our blagging skills for those last sort of 10 courses that we need to try and get on.
I feel like we've got a plan, and the plan is that we don't have a plan, and I like that. I kind of there's some for me there's a bit of comfort in that because I think I'm almost the opposite where if you put real rigorous plans in place and then they don't come to fruition, I
Yeah,
don't worry about it. It's not going to keep me up at night for God's sake, but at least it's enough to make me go, oh God, you know, we didn't quite reach. Like we've not even said we want to play 10 courses a year. We've just sort of said let's just see what we can do. Yeah. It's great at the minute. What's happening is, so I'm not really doing anything in terms of getting courses, but it's Chris will just randomly message me and just going, yeah, I've just spoke to somebody at work and they could probably get us on JCB, or I've just
oh yeah,
they can
I
get us
know.
on here and they can get us on there, and it's like, yeah, great, let's.
That's it. That's it. You speak to people or you or contacts and stuff. I mean, I've got a contact down towards Living, which is maybe Royal Living might come up as an option down the line. So you
Great.
do build up. It's such and such knows such and such who's a member or whatever. So
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, obviously, if you had unlimited money, you could just. I mean, you see a lot of the green fees go up because it attracts the Americans. So the Americans come over and come over to Scotland. They play. I mean, they played the Old Course. They play Carnoustie. They played North Berwick. They have Trin. They have all these courses lined up, and it's thousands and thousands of pounds. And they've got they've got a taxi that takes them around in a minibus. And money is not an option, so
Yeah,
they're obviously in a fortunate position. But for me, it's more just the enjoyment, and I mean, just tick them off slowly. I mean, why rush through it? If you can get half a dozen in, great.
yeah.
Chris said that actually, and it sort of resonated quite a bit. He was like, you know, I don't really want to. As this is coming from the man who set the target of 10 years, but you know, we don't want to feel like we're just playing somewhere to tick it off.
Yeah,
You want to enjoy the
that's
experience,
right.
and you can't lose that, or we don't want to anyway, lose that. You turn up and you're taking pictures of the signs, and you're just like, I can't wait to get out and play here, because
Yeah.
I remember the 17th hole, and Sevi played a really good shot there. I just want to see that view. That's wonderful, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
what this is all about,
Yeah.
I think.
And I think like it's a treat day out. You know what I mean? Like family life, work life is busy, so you know what I mean. If my wife couldn't get a day out, then I got a day out playing. I'm happy playing a top golf course. That's my idea of a great day out. So
Yep.
yeah, I mean, and it's all worth it. I mean, and like I'm obviously not so keen on spending 300 plus a round, but if you don't mind paying 100, 150, you know what I mean? If it's a great day, you know what I mean, you can't beat it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Completely agree, Mark. Couldn't have couldn't have put it better myself. Well, Mark, thank you for your time today,
No
and
problem.
thanks for listening. You know,
Thanks for
honestly,
having me. Yep.
that means a lot, and you've been a great guest. So
Thank you.
wonderful
You
to
know,
have you
thanks
on.
for having me on. Yeah.
Keep listening. There's a bit of
Will
pressure
do.
now to keep you entertained, but now we know you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to well, probably it's pre-round, maybe, or maybe even post-round, but a fresh orange and lemonade in the
Yep.
bar at Ganton. Well, that was a great chat with Mark. He's an avid listener, you can tell. I really do hope we can keep him entertained now for the rest of the challenge. But how funny is it that we probably just crossed paths, didn't we, with Silith? Look, anybody listening, you want to get in touch, please do. We love hearing all your stories. Until next time.